Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about characteristics of life. Biology is the study of life, so it's important that we define what makes something living. So imagine this scenario. You're out, you're hiking, and you come across a pine cone. And you and your buddy that you're out hiking with, because you should never hike alone, start getting in an argument. And you say, no, this pine cone, it's a living thing. And your buddy says, no, it's not. It's just a pine cone. It's not living. And you go, well, wait a minute. In biology class, we learned there are certain characteristics that we use to define whether or not something's alive. The first characteristic that we're going to talk about is, can this grow and develop? Can this get bigger? Can it possibly change form? Can it become something else? Well, this pine cone is the seed for the big tree that you see behind me. So this pine cone, when it drops, the seeds that are in this pine cone then get transferred, end up in the dirt, they grow and develop into a tree. So by that definition, yeah, this pine cone's alive. It can grow into a big tree like it came from and develop into something that's going to give you oxygen and give animals food and shelter and all of that. So yes, the pine cone's living based on the fact that it can grow and develop. Can this pine cone reproduce? Well, not in pine cone stage, but obviously this big tree reproduces. This pine cone is part of that reproduction system. So this tree drops the pine cone, and the seeds of this pine cone then get transferred somewhere and grow a new tree. Reproduction is important for life. If we can get something to live and then it doesn't reproduce, when that thing dies, that's the end of life. As we know it, there's no more life. So we want things to be able to reproduce in order to consider them living. Brings us to death. Can this pine tree behind me die? Well, yeah, I can cut it down. It could be hit by lightning. Animals could eat it. Parasites could get it. So it can die. So in order to consider something living, that thing has to be able to die. So it can grow, develop, reproduce, die. Okay, is this tree, because now we've moved on, like we know the pine cone becomes the tree. Is this tree utilizing energy? Yeah, the tree's doing photosynthesis. So the green needles of the tree are taking the energy from the sun and turning it into sugar. The tree is then using that sugar for its reproduction and its growth and its development. So every living thing out there uses energy. The trees are using the energy from the sun. Guys, guess what? If you've ever had pesto, you've eaten pine nuts, which are the seeds off that pine tree. So you can take the sugar that this tree develops, ingest it, and get energy for yourself. So if you're not a tree, you're an animal, you're going to get your energy from another source. You're not going to get it from the sun because you can't do photosynthesis. You do cellular respiration. So every living thing has to use energy. When we started looking for life on other planets, exobiology, one of the things we said is, well, every living thing on the Earth is either doing photosynthesis or cellular respiration. And so we have to look for oxygen because oxygen is therefore the thing that allows us to do photosynthesis or cellular respiration. It moves between those two cycles. And so we started looking for oxygen. And we started looking for water because water is H2O. It's got oxygen in it. And so if we have water, we have oxygen. But in the 90s, they discovered this whole other community at the deep sea vents that were living off of methane. No oxygen involved, no sunlight involved. They got their energy from methane. And it kind of opened up our eyes. But needless to say, everything was still utilizing energy. It was getting its energy from the deep sea vents as opposed to from the sun or from the pine nuts, but it was still utilizing energy. So things grow and develop. Sorry, distracted by birds. I'm out here in nature where things are growing, developing. They grow and develop. They reproduce, they die, they utilize energy. And did you see my reaction when something came out of the bushes? Because I'm at O'Neill right now where there was a mountain lion a couple of days ago. Living things are going to react to their environment. I heard a noise, I paused talking, and I looked over into those bushes to make sure that I didn't do that dying part, right? When animals react to their environment, they're reacting to their environment in order to stay alive. So they're reacting in a way that's going to prevent their death. They want to prolong life. So every living thing is going to react to their environment. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, that tree is not going to run away from the squirrel that's trying to strip its babies, its pine cones, of all of the nuts. Well, no. That's why it has a million pine cones, right? I'm going to throw those back for the squirrels. This tree behind me is actually going to, over time, bend its limbs to ensure that it gets proper sunlight. It's reacting to its environment through evolution and adaptation, because pine trees, if you notice, nothing's on the ground underneath this pine tree. But if I were to walk around in other areas of this park, there's a lot of plants growing on the ground. Well, through evolution and adaptation, this pine tree, in the needles, there's something that prevents growth. So it's preventing other things from trying to steal its nutrients, its water, its sunlight. So these are reactions to the environment. Even plants are going to react to their environments. The big one here, the one that really defines all life, and if we were to find life on another planet, we would look for this, is all living things are made of cells. Cells are the smallest units of living things, and these cells combine then to make a big tree. So if I were to look at it on a basic microscopic level, every living thing is made of cells. And those cells are then going to do the life functions that we talked about. Those cells are going to grow, they're going to die, they're going to reproduce, they're going to utilize energy with the chloroplast and the mitochondria. So every living thing is made of cells. Those cells combine into multicellular organisms to make things like that tree or like you. And the form and the function kind of lead to the ability of that group of cells. All right. What I'm going to ask you to do now is take this knowledge from today's lecture and complete today's assignment. Have a great afternoon.